Hey cat lovers, and welcome back to another video. Everybody knows that a wagging tail is a classic sign of a happy dog, but not everyone would be able to tell you what a happy cat's tail looks like. Cats' tails get much less attention than their canine counterparts, but that doesn't mean that they aren't just as, if not more, fascinating. If you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe to the channel for more cat videos. Now let's discuss 10 surprising secrets about your cat's tail. Number 1. Your cat uses their tail to express emotions. While the tail may not seem too expressive at first glance, it plays an important role in a cat's communication. You can learn a lot about what a cat is feeling based on the posture and movement of their tail. You just need to know how to match the emotion to the tail. If your cat's tail is upright with the tip hooked, they probably feel very happy and confident. Conversely, if their tail is rigid and straight out, they might be feeling stressed or fearful. A terrified cat will have their tail pinned underneath their body, or they might puff up their tail in an attempt to make themselves look bigger than they actually are. If a cat is wagging or lashing its tail, that means that they are feeling annoyed or even angry. It is best to give a cat with a lashing or puffed up tail plenty of space to cool off. The neutral position for a cat's tail is horizontal, parallel to the ground, but relaxed in posture. A slightly lowered and diagonally slanted tail is also considered a neutral expression. Along with determining your cat's emotional state, you can also get a good read on how your cat is physically feeling from their tail's behavior. A sick or injured cat may wrap their tail around themselves tightly, almost like they are hugging themselves. If your cat is repeatedly exhibiting this behavior, you should consider a trip to your veterinarian to make sure everything is okay. Cats are notorious for hiding their pain, so you often need to look for the more subtle cues that they give off to indicate if something is wrong. Other key signs that your cat is in pain include a sudden change in mood, lethargy, withdrawing or hiding, or changes in appetite or routine. Number 2. The tail is very important for balance. One of the most important purposes of your cat's tail is to maintain balance. Cats are known for their spectacular balance and agility, and their movements are usually well calculated and precise. The tail allows for your cat to accurately maneuver along narrow ledges or high perches by acting as a counteractive force. Your cat moves their tail according to their movements to change their center of gravity and maintain their balance. Whether they are running after prey or jumping onto a thin shelf, your cat's tail plays a pivotal role in keeping them upright. Next time your cat darts off in one direction or the other, pay attention to their tail. More likely than not, you'll see their tail stick out in the opposite direction of where they are headed, acting as a counterbalance to keep them on their feet. Number 3. The tail contains almost 10% of your cat's bones. A cat's skeletal system is usually made up of around 230 bones, though this number can vary a bit depending on breed. While their skeletal structure is actually relatively similar to a human's, there is one very noticeable difference: the tail. A cat's tail is an extension of their spine, and as such is made up of similar vertebrae. A tail typically contains 18 to 23 vertebrae, meaning that the bones in the tail account for around 10% of all of the bones in a cat's body. The main purpose of all the vertebrae is to allow for flexibility and movement. Cats are naturally very flexible, in large part due to the composition of their spines and tail. The vertebrae in their spines and tails are connected with very elastic and cushioning discs that allow for increased movement and rotation. These discs, known as intervertebral discs, also absorb shock and allow for safe landing from large heights. Along with the vertebrae and the intervertebral discs, a cat's tail is also made up of muscles and nerves, both of which contribute to movement in the tail. As we've discussed already, the movement in a cat's tail is crucial for both expression and balance. Cats can move their tails with such a large range of motion and flexibility in large part due to how their tails are constructed. From the large amounts of bones and the unique design of their discs, muscles, and nerves, a cat's tail can move with great functionality and ease. Number 4. Your cat can break their tail. Even though your cat's tail is built to be flexible and absorb damage, it is still made of bone, and like all bones, it can be susceptible to breakage. While it isn't common, it is possible that your cat can break their tail. This is most commonly caused by an accident, like falling awkwardly from a fall or getting hit by a car. There are some key indicators of a broken tail. Most often, the tail will go limp or just out at an awkward angle. A broken tail is likely to be very painful and therefore requires immediate treatment. Luckily, most broken tails will heal well. However, if left untreated, a broken tail can have severe ramifications. If you suspect that your cat's tail is broken, make sure to visit your veterinarian as soon as possible. Number 5. Most Manx cats are tailless. Of all the domestic cat breeds, there is only one that is considered to be genuinely tailless, the Manx cat. However, despite this fact, not all Manx cats are without tails. Some Manx cats can have short, stubby tails, while others have perfectly average length tails. The Manx cat is a breed that is thought to have originated around 1750 on the Isle of Man, a small island off the coast of Great Britain. Though Manx cats aren't as well known as other cat breeds, they are among the founding breeds of the Cat Fanciers Association. Manx cats can come in a wide variety of appearances, ranging in color and fur length. However, their defining trait is their lack of a tail. Their taillessness is thought to be a naturally occurring genetic mutation, though one that has been intentionally preserved through selective breeding. The trait for taillessness is dominant, meaning most kittens with one or more Manx cat parents will have no tail. However, Manx cats are only bred with non-Manx cats, combining their dominant tailless gene with a recessive tail gene. This is because breeding two Manx cats is very dangerous for the offspring. Kittens inheriting two copies of the tailless gene often are born with fatal defects or crippling health issues. This is called Manx syndrome, referring to the plethora of painful or potentially fatal health issues plaguing cats with the mutated gene that causes taillessness. While this most often affects cats with two copies of the gene, it can also affect cats with only one copy of the gene. This means whether or not a kitten has one or both Manx cat parents, they may be at risk of suffering from Manx syndrome. This has led to a lot of ethical concerns surrounding the breeding of Manx cats, an issue that continues to be debated today. Number 6. Tail length can vary by quite a lot. The length of a cat's tail can vary by quite a lot from cat to cat, though it is almost entirely dependent on genetics. Some breeds like the American bobtail or Japanese bobtail have naturally short tails, hence their names. Their tails are usually around 1 to 4 inches in length. Unlike the Manx cat, the gene responsible for their short tails is not known to have any negative effects on their health. In fact, the Japanese bobtail is often considered one of the healthiest cat breeds due to its high level of genetic diversity. Just like some breeds have shorter tails, other breeds have long tails. Breeds like the Maine Coon, Siamese, and Norwegian Forest Cat are known for having quite long tails. The world record holder for longest tail on a domestic cat living belongs to a Maine Coon named Altair from Michigan with a tail measuring 16.07 inches. Proving that genetics play a huge role in determining tail length, Altair's brother Cygnus holds the record for the longest tail on a domestic cat ever. Cygnus's tail is a whopping 17.58 inches. Number 7. Only domestic cats can hold their tails vertically while walking. If you spend enough time around a domestic cat, you've probably seen them hold their tail high above their head as they strut around with confidence. An upright tail is a key indicator of happiness and self-assurance in cats. Interestingly, this is not a behavior that domestic cats share with their wild relatives. Even though tails are just as important for communication in wild cats as they are in domestic cats, wild cats cannot hold their tails upright. They can only hold their tails parallel to the ground or down between their legs. All other felines aside from the domestic cat, like tigers, lions, and panthers, have never been observed walking with upright tails. While this is likely due to size difference and muscle to mass ratio, this difference between your house cat and their wild relatives has not fully been explored. Number 8. Cats can live without their tails. Even though most of this video has been dedicated to all of the important roles that the tail plays in your cat's life, it isn't actually required to live a healthy, happy life. Some cats, whether it be infection or accident, have to get their tails amputated. This is known as a caudectomy, the surgical removal of a cat's tail. In some cases, this is a necessary procedure. While the loss of a tail can be disorienting or distressing for a cat, most will quickly adapt to life without it. They may need to readjust their balance and rely more on other communication techniques, but a cat can be just fine without their tail. Number 9. Tail injuries can be very serious. Even though a cat can be okay without their tail, as we've discussed in the previous fact, tail injuries can be debilitating and seriously impact their health. The tail in many ways is an extension of the spinal cord. Though the spinal cord technically ends in the lumbar area, the lower back, many of the nerves extend into the tail. Depending on the area impacted, a tail injury could cause serious nerve damage. Injury near the base of the tail, whether it be from breakage or pulling, could result in nerve injury and neurological problems. Some common indicators of nerve damage in the tail include drooping, loss of sensation, involuntary urination or defecation, or issues with the hind legs. If you suspect your cat is suffering from nerve damage following a tail injury, make sure to immediately see your veterinarian. While in most cases tail injuries are minor and perfectly treatable, more severe cases may warrant amputation or cause permanent nerve damage. Number 10. A cat's tail is sensitive. As we've discussed, the tail houses a lot of nerves extending from the spinal cords. These nerves play a key role in your cat's ability to control and maneuver their tail, whether that be to signal their mood or balance out their movements. Because of the amount of nerve endings in the tail, it tends to be more sensitive than other parts of your cat's body. As such, cats tend to have varying reactions to having their tails touched. Some cats may enjoy having their tails stroked, while others may not tolerate it at all. Every cat is different, so it's important to watch your cat's reaction to gauge whether or not they enjoy having their tail petted. Now that we've gone over the list, it's time for Cat of the Week. This video's cat of the week is Cosmo. His guardian says, Cosmo is a 3-month-old orange domestic short-haired tabby that I rescued from a shelter here in Sussex, New Jersey. His birthday is believed to be April 17th, 2024. He is very vocal. He enjoys ripping my clothes out of the closet and breaking 65-inch TVs, but I still love him. Congratulations, Cosmo, keep being pawsome, and maybe work on staying out of trouble, bud. To enter your cat for a chance to be featured, visit the entry link in the description box below. As always, we would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up because it helps other cat lovers find our content. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next Catterday for another video.